It has turned to Ookum Spookum season, so it is the most wonderful time of the year. Pumpkin spice lattes, jack-o'-lanterns, spirit Halloween stores popping up like capitalistic zombies as they reanimate long-dead circuit cities. And spine-tingling, hair-raising, and scream-inducing horror movies. So today I would like to talk about a 2014 film that premiered at Sundance, was a follow-up to a genuinely fantastic home invasion movie, and a film like nobody saw in theaters. And that's a crying shame. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about 2014's The Guest. The Guest was the third collaboration between director Adam Wingard and writer Simon Barrett. They had previously collaborated on a fantastic 2011 film, although it wasn't released to theaters until 2013, You're Next, as well as previously the ultra-low-budget horror film, A Horrible Way to Die. With You're Next, they put their own spin on the home invasion film, a well-trodden subgenre of horror and thriller alike, whether it's Panic Room or The Strangers, by infusing elements of the indie subgenre mumblecore. Mumblecore films use naturalistic acting and improvisation, ultra-low budgets, and heavily emphasize dialogue over plot. Think Drinking Buddies, Jeff Who Lives at Home, or Frances Ha. If you haven't seen them, your pretentious art school friends love mumblecore movies. So, in You're Next, when we see a family reunion at a vacation home with all the squabbles and Joe Swanbergs there, you think that's what you're getting. A mumblecore movie. Money problems with children of wealthy parents, sibling rivalry, and an adult son professor who is in a relationship with a younger woman who started out as his student. Very mumblecore, much wow. But then when the violence starts and an arrow bursts through the window to shoot through the neck of a pretentious documentarian boyfriend of the daughter that they don't really talk about very much, it snaps right into horror, turning it into the genre mumblegore, basically a horror movie that uses mumblecore elements. It makes the violence and the terror all the more real, more tangible. And You're Next gave me something with a blender that I never knew I needed until I saw it, and it fulfilled me. So, what is The Guest? The Guest is an hour and 10 minutes of family drama where a soldier comes to visit the family of his fallen comrade that is essentially a slow burn building to the last 30 minutes, which is an explosive payoff. Think of it like that Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Natalie Portman film Brothers meets John Carpenter's Halloween. And it's set on Halloween, all spooky-like. But why The Guest is so great is not just because of the genre-bending acrobatics that it takes, the opening scene being a soldier talking to the mother of his dead battle buddy that his last moments were thinking of his family and that he loves them, to have about an hour and 15 minutes later Lance Reddick shooting a submachine gun in the air yelling "fuck" after losing 5 highly trained operatives in creative fashion. It is the psychology of the protagonist which makes it great. The protagonist being David Collins. Before I get into the character work of David, I would just like to highlight the writing of this film. It is fantastic. Simon Barrett is second to none when it comes to this sort of thing. Simon Barrett's work as of late has been, well, I'll just be polite and say not great. But in The Guest, it just might be the best example of how to write a bare-bones thriller this side of John Carpenter. When we meet the Peterson family, we get all we need to know about these characters as quickly as we need to, and just enough to get to know what their deal is. Laura, played by Sheila Kelly, is haunted by the loss of her son and is in this waking nightmare of just going through the motions of life. Spencer, played by Leland Orson, is just trying to provide for his family and troubled at work as he is constantly being passed over by younger and more educated candidates. And it's never outright stated, but, dude's got a drinking problem.
I'm gonna have a beer before dinner. Can I offer you one?
Sure can't get you a beer?
Let's have a couple more of these to celebrate.
I'm getting a drink, honey.
I'm having a drink.
Would you join me?
I could use a drink. How about you, David?
I know. Coming from me. Anna, played by Micah Monroe, is scraping by at her diner job just to get tuition for college, and is frustrated by her drug dealer boyfriend who has no motivation in life. And Luke, played by Brendan Meyer, is having trouble at school, living through the cyclical hell that can be high school when it is combined with bullying and torment. And as this film is genre shifting, a gear shift movie. Oh, call back to one of my previous videos, go watch it. How the film executes the twist from family drama to all-out gunfight and cat and mouse chase is imperative. It's a slow burn, but throughout the film we get hints that there might be something off with David. Maybe it's the staring. Oh god, it's the staring. However, the twist needs to be jarring enough so the audience is emotionally at the same place as the characters, so that it can be just as crazy for us as it is for them when it gets all bang bang shoot shoot. We see how David helps Luke at the beginning of the second act by goading his high school bullies into a bar fight. First by giving their dates blowjob shots, and secondly, a fireball shot into their face. Fireball shot. Oh my god. That's what he's drinking?
You get used to it.
We don't always see him interacting with the other family members, other than Luke and Anna. We don't see him inserting himself into their lives, rather than his presence just being there, even if it is just a shoulder for drunken Spencer to talk to. But Spencer's boss dies under mysterious circumstances, leading to him getting the promotion. And Anna's boyfriend is arrested for drug possession because of an anonymous tip. The longer David stays, the more their lives change. Anna thinks there might be something wrong with David, and especially after her boyfriend calls from prison, she wants to get to the bottom of it. She calls the military base where David said he came from, and they tell her that apparently David is dead. At about the same time, she overhears him on the phone talking to a disreputable plastic surgeon. And while there's these little hints that maybe the family should, leave, get away from David, let him do his own thing, it is not until Lance Reddick shows up as Major Richard Carver that the film turns itself into B-movie action schlock.
Peterson, as in Caleb Peterson, book me on the next flight, and I'm gonna need some shooters. No one outside this circle can know that any of our subjects are still active.
And what Barrett does with the script is just fantastic. Instead of spoon-feeding the audience the specifics of who David is and what the program he was involved in was, we are given all that we need to know.
It doesn't matter. It would take too long to explain.
And since this film is essentially from David's point of view, Barrett decides to show us, rather than tell us, how dangerous David is. Whatever the program he was in led to David becoming the biggest badass there ever was. Shooting him just gets him mad. A squad of special forces shooters is just a hiccup, a speed bump. And apparently, nobody can know who he is and that he's alive, or else it compromises the mission. Is he a human? A cyborg? An MK Ultra? It doesn't matter. Because honestly, it doesn't matter to the ones on the other end of his gun. All that matters is that he is dangerous. Now, what makes David such a compelling character, other than the mystery of who the hell this guy is that grows slowly as the movie progresses? It is his worldview. Whatever was done to David, whoever he was before he went into the military and joined this experimental program, that's dead now. The way he can switch from charming, affable, soft-spoken, polite David to cold-blooded killer in an instant is fascinating. This is shown with his reaction to the hypocrisy many Americans have in the hollow, we support the troops platitudes that they are given. But the best look at this character is in his heart-to-heart with Luke after they make jack-o'-lanterns. He says to Luke to not let anyone pick on him ever.
Otherwise, you'll carry it with you the rest of your life.
That's good advice, right? Stand up for yourself. Be assertive. It's, especially for somebody who has self-confidence issues like Luke has, probably. But then,
Those kids at school, they were bigger than you. And bring a knife to school.
Yeah, this is getting a bit...
They take it off you and beat you up. You go around their houses at night and burn them down with their families inside. What's the worst they can do?
I guess he's technically right? Fuck, man, no. Don't. No. Not cool. But it is this one exchange that colors David's entire worldview. It is not only that might makes right. It's that if you're ever gonna have to throw a punch, even before a punch is thrown at you, you make sure to throw one that the other guy cannot get back up from. Complete dominance with a total disregard for societal norms. You are only accountable to yourself. A scene that is an example of this worldview in action is when he goes to buy guns. He meets a guy who's got a bunch of guns that he's selling out of his truck. And after a fantastic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly homage, David says that he will take all of the guns off of his hands. And money won't be an issue, because...
Well, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, what the fuck, David?
And he does just that. Was it right? Well, no. But what's the worst the other guy's gonna do? The guy was selling guns, probably illegally. Most certainly illegally. Is he gonna call the cops? He's dead. And even if he called the cops beforehand, what are they gonna do? It's gonna take him a while to get there. They're in the middle of a rock quarry in the middle of nowhere. What if he goes to kill him first? Sure, that could work. And then David would be dead and that's the end of it. But if, David kills him first, not much you can do after that. It's doing whatever you want. Doing whatever you have to do, despite what society says. This isn't a dude in clown makeup dancing down a fucking stairwell to a noted pedophile's song. This is a guy who sees through the cracks of society and does what we all kind of feel like we might want to do at certain points before we realize that there are rules and consequences to our actions. And this is the part of the video where I heap all of my praise that I have to director Adam Wingard for executing some of the most fantastic action set pieces in a film with a budget of 0.625% of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. He makes the violence exciting, jarring, and character-driven. The shootout in the Peterson home is magnificent. In the same set where the majority of the film takes place, where all of the family drama happens, David executes an entire hit squad with relative ease, shooting people through windows, blowing off an assailant's foot before taking him out, and scooting across the room under a bed with an assault rifle. It's very fun. And in the diner where Anna and Anna's friend, who David got very close to earlier in the film, work, there is a shot very reminiscent of Assault on Precinct 13 by John Carpenter. But the murders that David is perpetrating, they are not random. He is picking off everyone who has had contact with him. Laura, Spencer, the chick he banged. No one can know who he is or where he is, or else it will compromise his mission, his programming. And Dan Stevens is having a blast. And finally we get to the final set piece, the Gymnasium Sequence. The school gymnasium, which has been turned into a house of horrors. And I'd like to note that this is a movie that is set on Halloween or around Halloween, and it fully makes use of Halloween decorations. Why don't more movies do that? What can I say about this sequence that the images cannot describe for themselves? It is just some fantastic visual candy. The colors pop on the screen as the characters make their way through the smoke-filled room. The Hall of Mirrors sequence, it's fantastic because it shatters our idea of geography, where everyone is. But we know that danger can be lurking at every turn, and it's not completely confusing. And the violence. Oh God, the violence. Won't somebody think of the children? Whew. Super spicy. But what makes this scene work? It's the resolution of it. When David is attacking Anna, strangling her and about to kill her, Luke steps in with the knife that David gave to him while they were carving pumpkins and stabs him. And stabs him again. And as David dies, he gives Luke a thumbs up, saying that,
I don't blame you.
don't feel bad.
And as the smoke covers David's lifeless body, Anna and Luke help each other out of the gymnasium before it becomes engulfed in flames. As the firefighters, the EMTs, and the police show up, trying to help the kids who are now orphans, mind you, and try to douse the flames, they are safe from danger and recovering in an ambulance. And they can move on with their lives into greener pastures and... Wait, what was that? So yeah, The Guest is a fantastic little film. It's been on Netflix forever. I suggest everyone go watch it. If you're looking for a fantastic character piece that is as fun and goofy as action-packed and tense, you can't go wrong with The Guest. Like, share, subscribe, and drink fireball shots. They're not bad. They're just little, ooh, spicy.